Hey, good afternoon, guys. KB5MIQ Bigboy. I'm shooting Wednesdays and next Saturday's video today, which is Saturday when I just posted the latest video. I'm going to be working in an auction all week on my new part-time job, so I don't know how much time I'm going to have. So I'm going to go and get them shot this weekend, get them posted. All I'll have to do is just cut them live on Wednesday and Saturday. Guys, I had a request to explain about ham bands, specifically when you say 80 meters, 20 meters, what that means. And I've touched on this before, so I'm going to start just a basic explanation of amateur radio bands for beginners, and not going to do a lot of in-depth or give you a NASA engineer statement on it. It's one from my old buddy David. I'm just going to try to keep this as to the point as I can. First off, you need to understand what the spectrum of radio is. And look at the spectrum of radio like half of a pie, where you've got the lowest usable frequency on this end and the highest usable frequency on this end. And you've got everything in between is radio spectrum. And you'll have slices of commercial, broadcast, business, public service, military, and amateur radio. And all of these are scattered throughout the whole spectrum. And it's just one slice right after another. It's real easy if you don't understand everything about radio spectrum to think, okay, ham radio uses this band, this band, this band. There's nothing in between them. Well, that's not necessarily true. That's not true, because there's other users in between those bands. We just have these little slices cut out for amateur radio use. And we're mainly going to talk today about 160 through 70 centimeters. So, and if you want to really get a good idea how that works, get you a general coverage HF receiver or a general coverage HF transceiver. And even though your ham radio transceiver is going to have specific buttons you push for each band, you can actually scroll that receiver and receive everything between 160 and as high as it goes. Usually these general coverage receiver radios, the newer ones go all the way up 6 meters. This 940 I've got back here has got general coverage receive in it, and it only goes from 160 to 10, but it's got the warp bands in it. So you can listen to anything in between with the radio. So that's how radio spectrum works. It's really easy to understand, especially if you can look at it on a pie chart. My computer skills suck, so we're not going to try to dazzle you all with a computer pie chart or nothing. But that's all it is. You've just got slices checked out for amateur radio service. Now, here's the difference in full wave and half wave. And the specific question was, why do we call a band in meters like 80 meters or 160 meters? It's just it references two areas. 80 meters is the width of the full wave of that signal. Same with 160 and so on. And it's also easy to say, I'm going to be on 80 meters. And you automatically know what band they're going to be on. And then if you want to sweep up and down the band to find somebody to talk, it's easy to look at it like that. But I've got some measurements here I want to kind of explain and touch on what this actually means when you're talking 160 through 70 centimeters. If you take 160 meters, a full wave of 160, and I just use random frequencies for this, so if you figure this yourself, you may get slightly different numbers. A full wave on 160 meters is 524 feet, 11.2 inches. A half wave dipole is 126 foot each leg. Now, before I go further, let me talk to you about full wave versus half wave dipoles. Nobody that I've ever seen, I'm not saying you can't use one, but full wave dipoles create a problem on their own. Number one, the size. Number two, the impedance matching. Because You don't ever, depending on the material it's made out of, how high you've got it in there, it'll either be a really low impedance match or a massively high impedance match, which takes really specialized matching gear to make it work. The lobe, the transmitted lobe, or your radiated signal off of a full wave dipole, is not going to be the same every time. It could be erratic. It could be different lobes, different directions. It all depends on the impedance point and how high you've got it. And they're just really, I've never seen anybody use one. Half wave dipoles are the most popular single band antenna that you can make out there. A half wave dipole will give you a 50 to 75 ohm match, which is real easy to match. Trim your antenna, get your antenna higher, or use a tuner. But they're real lot easier to match. And a half wave dipole has a good radiated antenna lobe off of each side of it, broadside to the world. See what I'm saying? And it's going to be the kind of the same radiated lobe. That's not to say you can't work a station off perpendicular end of it. I have. But my rule of thumb with half-wave dipoles, no matter what band they are, I always try to run my dipoles broadside east and west, perpendicular north and south. Biggest reason I do that is I've worked Canada, and I've worked every station in South America from Mexico to the tip of South America. The stations I'm really looking for are going to be east and west of me. Now, 10-meter bands wide open, 17 meters open. I have worked a ton of stations off the ends of it. And all depends on how the band's propagating. But your best radiated pattern for reception and transmission is going to be off the broad sides of it. Okay? That's why we use half-wave dipoles. And that's even a half-wave for 160 is 126 foot of leg. So that's 250 foot of wire you've got in the air. And while we're talking on 160, one of the most common things I was always told, and Jeff was too, was you got to have a half-wave dipole half-wave in the air. Well, it's really hard to get a half-wave dipole on 160, 126 foot in the air. I was told it wouldn't work. And Jeff was too. And me and him tried it several years ago. We both built a half-wave single-band dipole on 160. Mine was up 30 feet at the center point and probably 15 feet on each end, and orientated. The only way I could even get it up on my property, even though I had a big pasture around me, was kind of northeast by southwest, northwest by southeast. I worked all over the United States with it. I'm not a big fan of 160 because it's a noisy band, it's a nighttime band, and I go to sleep at night. But I have worked all over the U.S. with it and been asked if I was running an amp for the signal I had. So the best thing you can do on an antenna, on a homemade antenna, don't listen if somebody tells you it don't work. Try it yourself. It's real simple. Now getting back to the wave, the size of these bands. An 80 meter full wave is 262 feet, 5.6 inches, and a half wave dipole is going to be 60 foot per leg. That's getting into a little easier size dipole that you can put up on most lots or pieces of property. 40 meters, 131 foot, 2.8 inches, full wavelength. Half wave, 32 foot, 6 inches per leg. So it's even getting smaller. And remember, the lower you go in frequency, including bands, the bigger the antenna is. The higher you go in frequency, the smaller the antenna gets. We just talked about 20 meters. Full wave size of 20 meters is 65 foot, 7.4 inches. With a 16 foot, 4.2 inch leg on each side of the dipole. 17 meters, 55 feet, 9.2 inches. Half-wave dipole, 12 foot, 11 inch leg on each side of the dipole. 15 meters, 49 foot, 2.5 inches, full wave size. 11 foot and a half inch each leg of a half-wave dipole for 15. 12 meters, 39 foot, 4.4 inches, full wave size, 9 foot, 4.7 inches each leg of the dipole, 10 meters, 32 foot, 9 inches is the full wavelength. Half wave dipole, 8 foot, 2.8 inches for each leg. And I think I figured that one on 28,450. But that's why I always say a 10-meter dipole for a tech is one of the easiest antennas you can get in the air. You're only looking at less than 20 feet, 16 feet, less than 17 feet full length of the dipole. And you only have to have it, if you do a half wave, that's only 17 feet off the ground. Of course, my old buddy Jeff's favorite saying, height is might, and it'll help to get it higher, but it will work. And it'll work good for 10 meters. 6 meters, 19 foot, 8.2 inches, full wave size. 4 foot, 8 inches, half each leg of a half wave dipole. 2 meters, 6 foot, 6.7 inches is the full wavelength of 2 meters. 19.2 inches each leg of the half wave dipole. And 440 or 70 centimeters, 2 foot, 3.5 inches, 6.4 inches for each leg of a half wave dipole for 70 centimeters. That's just real simple math. Dipole calculators will help you figure the dipole. But just remember, when you've got a full wavelength there that you're talking about, that's what they mean when they say full wavelength on 80 meters. That's telling you that's the band. Also, 80 meters is the full width of the bandwidth. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm saying that right. And half wave dipoles are the easiest antennas you can put together and use on those bands. And I know I'm probably going to get hammered for saying this. Yes, everybody's putting chokes. I see people using chokes now, and they work. They help. I'm not going to tell you not to. I've never made a choke on a single band dipole. Jeff has started using them. Tim uses them. I think Kent uses them. I never have, and I may start on it, but I haven't had a problem with it. A lot of that helps keep RF out of your shack to do that with, but it always don't hurt to try. And a half wave single band dipole is the easiest antenna you'll ever build. You look back at some other videos, I made a little miniature one just out of scrap. They're easy to make, easy to throw up, and they work exceptionally well. I have worked the world with a half wave 10-meter dipole. Getting back, coax is a big factor. You want a good grade of coax to use with your dipoles or any kind of antenna. But here's where a lot of debate comes in. Now, I've had people, don't use nothing but LMR 400. Don't use nothing but this or these super expensive brands of coax. Anything you can invest in feed line is money well spent. I am not telling you not to spend a lot of money on feed line. And I prefer to buy a better grade of coax. ABR, Cable Experts, Ardell sells good coax. I think MTC sticks with ABR and Cable Experts. All those are good grades of coax. But if you're talking on the low bands, 10 meters to 160, and you're 100 feet run of coax away from transmitter to antenna, and you're not running an amp, I really don't believe you need to run anything more than RG8X. And I may get hammered for that. I've run it my whole life. I've got a wall full of cards from contacts I've made. I think it's great for that. Now, if you're going to run an amp, no, you probably need to run better graded coax. 213, LMR 400, or old school RG8. But if you're not running an amp and you're staying on the low bands, I have never seen a need to spend more money on coax. My off-center fed Buckmaster I've got up, I bought 213 for that because I plan to use an amp with it if I ever decide to hook this amp that's sitting there on my bench for decorations up. But that's the only reason I bought that coax. If I had decided not to run an amp, I would have run RG8X on that and still been just as happy as all get out with it. Only coax that I have seen people have trouble with is 9913 and truck stop grade coax. It's going to be Chinesium coax, and you need to stay away from it. And 9913, from what I've been able to find out, Kent has talked to me about it, and some other people's had bad luck with it. If you're running it outside, sooner or later, moisture is going to get in it for some reason. And it's an expensive coax too. But I've heard of people have a lot of trouble with 9913. But new guys getting on the bands, the best thing you can get you is an ARRL handbook and study it. An antenna handbook will help you. But just remember, that's what the term meters mean when you're looking at your radio. 10 meters, 20 meters, whatever. It could have been easily just said frequency ranges, but everybody, it's easier just to put 80 meters on the radio, and that's exactly what it means. You're looking in that part of the band. The full wavelength is 80 meters wide. Same way with 160, so on and so forth. I hope this makes sense. One of my listeners asked me to put that up. Robert, I hope that makes sense. Hope you enjoy that. Got several ham fests coming up. Right now, I plan to be at Emory and at the end of April. I'm planning to attend Emory. 4 states will be at the end of May. I'm planning to be there. I'm going to attempt to go to the Ham at DFW Ham Expo in June. I'm really going to try to make that. I've been trying to go the last couple of years, but haven't been able to get my dad's health, and he passed last year about the time it was going on, so I didn't get to go to it. So I'm going to try to attend it. Guys, getting a lot of great comments on the channel. I appreciate it. And I hope I didn't set too many people off with the thumbnail for this video today, but I was addressing a couple of comments I got off social media, not on YouTube, but some social media comments. And my old cat, she's fine. She's in there racked out with her brothers in there with my wife. They're all asleep this afternoon. Guys, 4 States Amateur Radio Club Hamfest May 30th. The Freedom Link group, WX5FL Freedom Link, will be selling these. I think I called it a koozie in the last video. It's not a koozie, it's a tumbler. Got right here on top, I think my battery may be dead, but it'll tell you the temperature of it here on top. And it'll have their logo on it. And they'll be selling them there. Just look for their table. Brian Loper and Trace will be there, and they're really good with taking care of the Freedom Link group. We appreciate all they do. Guys, I think we're at 222.74.75. Got paid again. Second time in 6 months I got paid on YouTube. But I'm enjoying doing this. Guys, I appreciate all your support. This is KB5MIQ Bigboy, 73.